Today we'll discuss the bisphosphonates. Bisphosphonates are nothing but the analogues of the pyrophosphate. These are the analogues of the pyrophosphate. So why the name bisphosphonates? Because bis means there are two phosphonates group which is linked by a carbon atom. These are the two phosphonate groups which are joined together with the help of this carbon atom, and that's why the name bisphosphonates, which are the analogues of the pyrophosphate. And drugs in that category: etidronate, alendronate, pamidronate, zoledronate, risedronate or risdronate. So these are the drugs which are come under the bisphosphonates category. Dronate is the suffix, only prefix will change. Dronate will remain same. Etidronate, alendronate, pamidronate, zoledronate and risedronate. This etidronate is available orally and intravenously. Alendronate is given orally. Pamidronate and zoledronate, they are given intravenous infusion, and risedronate is also given orally. So basically these bisphosphonates or this dronate type of group, they prevent the loss of bone mineral density, and that's why they reduces the risk of fractures, right? Where we use all these things or bisphosphonates or this dronate type of drugs to prevent the loss of bone mineral density, particularly in the osteoporosis patient, right? To prevent the loss of bone mineral density, and that will reduce the risk of fractures. We know that osteoblast, they are helpful for the bone formation. Osteoblast for the bone formation and osteoclast for the bone resorption, right? Now these bisphosphonates acts through this anti-resorptive property. Anti-resorptive property. So what they do, we'll see. They have high affinity for the calcium in the bone. These bisphosphonates, they have high affinity for the calcium in the bone. So they will accumulate in the areas of the bone resorption. They will accumulate in the areas of the bone resorption, and they are taken up by the osteoclast. They are taken up by the osteoclast and promote their apoptosis. These drugs promote the apoptosis of the osteoclast, decrease the number of osteoclast, and hence there is a decrease in the bone resorption. Why there is a decrease in the bone resorption? Because decrease in the number of the osteoclast. Osteoclasts are responsible for the bone resorption, so decrease in the number of osteoclast, right? Promote their apoptosis of the osteoclast. Promote the apoptosis of osteoclast. Why? Because these bisphosphonates, they will get accumulate in the areas of the bone resorption. And why? Because they have high affinity for the calcium in the bone, and that's how they exert its anti-resorptive effect. Now there is one more action. They will interfere with the mevalonate pathway of the cholesterol synthesis. These bisphosphonates, they will interfere with the mevalonate pathway of cholesterol synthesis, which is required for the normal function of osteoclast. So that if there will be interference, will be cholesterol synthesis, mevalonate pathway of cholesterol synthesis, which is required for the normal function of osteoclast. That means decrease in the osteoclast function or decrease in the number of the osteoclast, and that's how they will decrease the bone resorption or anti-resorptive effect. Anti-resorptive effect. This is the mechanism of action. Now the pharmacokinetic properties. They are highly ionized or highly polar drug. They are highly ionized or highly polar drug, hence poorly absorbed through the GI tract, right? Bioavailability is very less than 1% for the amino bisphosphonates. Bioavailability is very less, and this bioavailability is decreased with when it is given with food. When it is given with food, bioavailability decreases. A part of the absorbed drug will get incorporated in the bone, and that will remain for long, from months to years, right? A part of the absorbed drug will get incorporated in the bone and will remain there for months to years, right? And the free drug will get excreted unchanged in the urine because it is a highly ionized drug, but the absorbed part of the drug will get incorporated in the bone and it will remain there for very long period. Oral bisphosphonates, when it is given orally, it may cause esophagitis or esophageal irritation. To prevent this esophagitis or esophageal irritation, they are taken on the empty stomach. It is taken with the plenty of water or full glass of water, and when it is taken, you have to remain upright for at least more than 30 minutes. So to prevent the GI side effects, to prevent the esophagitis or esophageal irritation, it is taken on empty stomach. It is taken with a full glass of water or plenty of water, and you have to remain upright for at least more than 30 minutes. Now, GI side effects when it is taken orally: nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. There is heartburn, esophagitis, peptic ulcer. These are the GI side effects. It is associated with fever, myalgia sometimes, and other side effects like it may cause hypocalcemia, headache, and skin rashes. These are the side effects or adverse effects of the bisphosphonates. Now, where we use this bisphosphonates? In osteoporosis, because where it is used in the postmenopausal or steroid induced osteoporosis. Where it is used in the postmenopausal osteoporosis or steroid induced osteoporosis, because it increases the bone mineral density and they reduces the risk of vertebral fracture. And they increases or prevent the loss of bone mineral density, or they increase the bone mineral density. Paget disease of the bone. It is used along with the calcitonin. Bisphosphonates are used along with the calcitonin. They reduce the bone pain and reduce the alkaline phosphatase level, which is increased in the Paget disease of the bone. Right? Hypercalcemia of malignancy or malignant hypercalcemia. They reduce or they inhibit the bone resorption. Anti-resorptive property. And in malignant hypercalcemia, zoledronate is the most potent drug, and it's a most preferred drug or drug of choice in the malignant hypercalcemia.